Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing this morning? So I am traveling. I was trying to go back through from Colorado again, and they keep closing the interstates because we have black ice for hundreds and hundreds of miles both ways. So I'm actually in the very middle of Wyoming, in the middle of nowhere. So hopefully it won't cut out too much. I'm gonna stream for hopefully the first couple hours here this morning, at least the first hour here through open. Hopefully get everybody kind of started off on the new month, new week, last month of the year on the right foot. So got a few things to go over here first. I hope you all had a good weekend. Hope you guys got some rest in. Hope you guys did your personal thing. That's one thing we always stress too. Is you got to have a personal life, you guys. I mean, yeah, I do spend a lot of time even on the off hours charting and helping guys on one-on-ones and stuff, but you guys got to have your personal life too, that you got to balance it. I know it's hard with a lot of you guys still working full time and stuff, so I more than understand, but got to get out. You're going to get crazy getting screen crazy. I'll go over the news here just quickly as I can. There's quite a few things, but I'm just going to go over my main things that I think matter the most, and then we'll go over a few trade ideas. Darth had a great Outlook video this morning, and so far what I've seen in the Discord, you guys posting are basically on the same track as us and myself, so those looked great as far as trade ideas and stuff, but I'll go over those here after I go through this news here. So the big thing for the push overnight was the China manufacturing numbers came out, and they were much higher than anticipated. So that boosted futures, which we were hovering around that critical 31.45 to 47 level, like I've been pointing out. We gapped up slightly, and then we actually hit a high overnight of 31.57 and some change, 62 to 75 cents, depending on what chart you actually were looking at. So that was very good. Oil surged overnight. It is back down here. You can see we got up here almost back up to $57, and then we've kind of slumped off the last couple of hours this morning. There's a lot of stuff going around oil with, and I put it in the description here, but basically what's going on is Saudi Arabia, with their whole IPO that they're trying to get ready for, they are trying to convince all their OPEC allies and Russia to go in with them basically on a price deal with oil, and to booster up their stock price for their IPO basically is going on. And the problem is that we don't really have jurisdiction over that, obviously. Of course, we'll try to do something about it. I'm sure we'll hear about this a lot in the next coming weeks, especially as it gets closer to their IPO date. Boeing is once again in the news, again trying to push for getting the 737s back into service this December. I think the more they do this, the weaker it looks for them. So it's just kind of fighting. But the thing is and I've explained this many times, but for those that don't understand, the reason I talk about Boeing so much and the reason it's so important is that it is the key weighted stock in the Dow. So when it's down, the Dow is down. It is very rare that it's ever a divergent. It's almost never happens. So that's why they protect Boeing like it is. Any other stock would have been down $100 easily overnight. It'd be down $200 by now. But that's kind of what goes on with that. I'm not going to go too tinfoil hat into that. But there's a lot that I could go over more on in our Discord. So some of the stocks with the biggest moves so far this morning are Disney, Las Vegas Sands, Fiat Chrysler. Disney will be one on very strong watch for me, which I'll go over in just a second with the trade idea. But they had their numbers come in from Frozen 2, which is just killing it at the ticket sales. So it set a Thanksgiving holiday record, 123.7 million in just North America alone in ticket sales. That broke a previous record set in 2013 by the Hunger Games Catching Fire. So that's why Disney is definitely going to be pushing up. Maybe, I mean, it could be sell the news too, but I'm just saying this week I would keep an eye on it, guys. Las Vegas Sands, LVS, and Wynn Resorts, WYNN. Shares of the casino operators are on watch following new figures showing gambling revenue fell 8.5% in November compared year over year. The drop comes amid lower economic growth and the ongoing trade dispute between U.S. and China. So I don't trade those too much. I do every once in a while trade Wynn, ticker WYNN. And so Las Vegas Sands is LVS. So you guys might hear me go over those a little bit this week. I'll be watching those for a possible short opportunity. And then if they drop hard enough, I'll look for a little dead cat bounce perhaps on those. Fiat Chrysler back in the news again this week. The automaker reached a tentative 4-year labor deal with the United Auto Workers Union following similar agreements with Ford and GM. And also GE is in the news. GE Healthcare Division holds an investor meeting today, hoping to spark new interest in a unit that is seen as key to the company's ongoing turnaround plan. So I've got long-term plays and positions in GE, so I'll be watching that over today and tomorrow to see what comes out of these meetings. Splunk, SPLK was upgraded to buy from neutral at Goldman Sachs, which is positive. I'll be watching a lot of the retail names like Macy's, Kohl's, and Nordstrom. They're super high short selling percentages right now, but a lot of the retail numbers coming out are very, very good. One of the big trade ideas I will show here in just a moment, along with Disney, is going to be Roku. Roku was downgraded to underweight from equal weight at Morgan Stanley, which sees both revenue and gross profit growth showing meaningfully in 2020. And Wells Fargo, the stock, WFC, the bank stock was downgraded to underperform from market perform at Raymond James, which expects Wells Fargo's revenue to shrink for a 4th straight year in 2020. So not good at all for Wells Fargo. They started to make a little bit of a push a couple months ago. I actually played their earnings and did quite well, but then it just kind of fell back to the wayside. So not too surprised there. ADT was downgraded as well, and that's the up and downs. I'll go over a couple more trade ideas in a second. I want to make sure I got everything out of the news that I thought was important. I know I had a couple other things, guys. Hold on, let's see here. Pre-market Dow Jones jumped over 100 points. Contributing to positive sentiment on the street was Chinese manufacturing data, which showed the country's factory activity reached a 3-year high. And then meanwhile, shoppers in the United States spent a record $7.4 billion on online purchases on Black Friday. So that'll be the Other reason I'll be watching a lot of these retail names. As far as the market is concerned, I am looking for short-term bullish, and I honestly think we'll probably get another, maybe, I mean, depending on news, of course, but I'm thinking if everything stays the way as it was right now, I would see us climbing a little bit of retracements here and there, but I'd see us climbing through December and January. And I am anticipating the fall that I thought would happen in December. I'm thinking now to start a big reversal in January. I will post some of this stuff later when I get back, hopefully tonight. But there's some stuff with everybody. The big thing that everybody keeps putting up on like social media is this the monthly MACD cross being positive for the first time in 12 years and blah 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 blah. Well, the problem is like that's a lagging indicator, and even though I use it for certain things, it is not very healthy to trade off of, and I will show exactly why. And I'll compare that with the sentiment indicators that I use, and to show why I am thinking that, even though that's crossing bullish, because every time it's done this directly after, very soon after, every time we had a very large correction. And that's about exactly what I'm thinking will still be happening here in the near future. Let me pull up some trade ideas here. Okay, so the first one I have up here is Apple. So you guys get used to this new format. So it's monthly, weekly, daily, 30-minute, 4-hour, 15-minute. I'll actually switch these. I don't know why I have them like this. But so what I'm looking at here, so it's been very, very strong. You can see here on the weekly just ripping ever since those quarter two earnings. Had a little bit of a correction last week with the whole market, and then it's kind of just been consolidating. So I'm actually looking for a possible next rip leg up on Apple. There's a lot of positive things going on around the fundamentals and macro of Apple, so I am quite bullish still on Apple. Again, it's kind of like Boeing. Apple is the market darling of the S&P, so it's very, very important, and there's a lot of positive catalysts going into December with increased manufacturing numbers, especially on the AirPods. They are calling for record iPhone numbers next year. They haven't really said why, but I believe it. Amazon, which I won't probably be playing today, but I will be looking for maybe a swing going in tomorrow into like next week. But you can see here on the daily, we had that nice big rip up and then some consolidation. I really am liking this chart, especially on the 4-hour. If we can hold this upper Celt on the 4-hour, there's also a bullish cross on the 4-hour where you see the 14 crossing up over the 30, and it's holding this upper Celt as support. I would really like to see this test this and then rip up higher, especially if it can hold this today on the daily. It needs to close above the upper Celt on daily. And then you can see here on the 15-minute what it's been doing so far this morning. It gapped up a little bit and then it's kind of sold off a little bit, but it's still holding the 200 SMA on the 15. Boeing, I'm not as, I'll be watching it, of course, with everything going on. I'm looking more of a bearish play, even though it had this bullish cross on the daily, 14 over the 30, and it's still holding this very critical 365 price level line you can see here. But if you look at it on the 4-hour, it doesn't look nearly as strong as it broke all the support here. It had all this support in here with the 14, the middle Celt, the 30, and it just kept going right through it. Now, I do expect it to probably hold this 365 line today. If it breaks that, I definitely would be looking at a bearish scenario. I think Baba, Darth also had a similar idea on that. So if you guys want a more detailed analysis on that, he went over it in the market outlook. I'm just going to be watching this with this nice little, it almost seems like a daily bull flag might start forming here. And speaking of daily, I'm going to skip ahead just a second. I'll go back to a couple, but Target is, I really am liking this chart on Target, you guys. This daily bull flag here is just setting up beautifully. I mean, look at this nice big gap on the daily after earnings, and then it's just been holding this consolidation. I'd really like to see this push up and then another rip up on this bull flag here. This is looking beautiful on the daily, and that's Target, guys. Let me go back to Disney. I really like Disney. I like the chart. I like the fundamentals. I like everything just about there is on Disney. Again, same thing. It has this nice little bull flag. It kind of ripped back up. I didn't rip as much as we thought the range. I thought it would go a little bit higher last week. I don't know if, I think some of you guys are still in it or have been in it a lot the last few weeks, which is great. I'm expecting this. I would like to see a retest on the upper Celt on the daily, and then I would definitely go for a bullish play up. If it does retest this line in the next day or two, I would look for my price levels again right in here. So I would, if it can come back down to this like 148.75 or somewhere in there, I'd look to get out target 1 to be like 153, and then if it can get past this, I'd be looking for like a 157. I will chart more of that when I get home tonight or tomorrow. I'll chart this in detail because I think this Disney play could be huge for 2020, guys. I think Disney is going to be a big push. I'm also watching Facebook. I really like the weekly on this one. You know, big push up, a little bit of profit taking, consolidated, you know, and then it just kept pushing up. Earnings were good. Consolidate, push back up. I would like to see this consolidate for a day or two and then the next push up. That's exactly what I'd be watching this. Oh, sorry, not in the day or two, on the weekly. I'd like to see it this week. Just hold at least these levels. If it drops, if it misses this daily, it still has a lot of support right in here, and there's price levels in here that are critical too. So really, it doesn't need to just, you know, rip. I'd like to see it consolidate and take a breather. That's kind of how I am on the overall market and all of these bullish plays. I really think the bullish names need to breathe a little bit before they can take off. I'll be watching Home Depot. Yeah, after earnings, I mean, that was a huge play for me on this earnings call, or earnings put, sorry. And then it consolidated, but it started to push back up, and it couldn't get over the daily lower Celt. But I think if we can get over this week at some point, this could be a nice bullish play as well. If it can't and it continues to have that resistance, then definitely would be looking for a further downside action. Home Depot was up a lot last year compared to a lot of its peers, but Home Depot has been killing it, so I'm not too surprised. I will be watching McDonald's as I have been the last couple of months. As you can see here on the monthly, I mean, it's just been giving amazing gains until they had the whole CEO fiasco here. But it's still been holding up pretty good even on the weekly here. It didn't lose a lot of these key levels. You can see once it got back above upper Celt or lower Celt on the daily, it was able to hold that. It did find a lot of resistance here on the middle Celt last week, and then look at that, boom, right over it at the end of the week there. And then it was able to hold on to this on Friday. So that's awesome. So I'd be looking for a retest on the daily middle Celt, and then I would be looking for some profit taking around this 196 and maybe around 96.50, somewhere in there. MU I will be watching as well. It's very similar. If it can hold this middle Celt on the daily, if it can't, then I definitely would see some more downside action. That one I'm not as excited about. Roku, I'm very, very interested in. It was downgraded. 7:20. Okay. Roku obviously already had a bit of a sell-off today. It's been continuously going down here. What I'm expecting to see on Roku this morning is one of two things, two scenarios. If they go into open here in about 10 minutes, I could see it ripping up to kind of shake the weak hands and kind of get everybody confused, and then I could see it just dropping from there. If this continues to drop, it's going to be hard to kind of chase this, but what I would like to see is I'd like to see it push up out of the open here, and then I would get short and come down, and especially when it breaks this upper Celt, which it now I believe is, where's it at, 146.85. So yeah, we're already almost down to middle Celt, so it's going to open below upper Celt, and then that's going to be resistance probably all day, and if not all week. So I'd like to see this push up, and then I would get short. But if it just continues to drop, it's going to be hard to chase that guy. So be careful on Roku if you're going to chase that one. Yeah, I really like Target. Oh, and I will be watching Starbucks also. Okay, guys, that's kind of what I'm looking at. That's kind of what my overall market. I will post a bunch of market stuff. I was going to post last night, but we were fighting the wind and the ice and didn't get in until really late. So hopefully if I get back at a decent time tonight, I can get some of the stuff I want you guys to be looking at going through December into 2020. I'm going to grab some more coffee, get some stretch out real quick, and you guys should do the same. Get ready for the open. I'll be back on in just a couple of minutes here before cash open, and we will go from there, guys. Good luck, and I'm glad to see everybody did pretty good last week on a shortened week and low volume. So good job, guys. We'll go over some stuff here just shortly. All right, guys, let's get ready here. Everybody, stay green. Remember, cash is a position. Don't chase, and don't be looking for something that is not there. Let's have a good day, you guys. Remember, I'm on about a 30-second delay. We're actually going to open up the voice channel on our Discord this week, so you guys will have live, no delay audio, and then we'll still have the YouTube as for the visuals, but it'll be nice. You guys can all join in. So we'll hopefully get that started on Wednesday. I think let's shoot for Wednesday with that. So, all right, I am going to go to my SPY and see what we can get going here today. Getting a bit of a little bit of a sell-off here this morning. I was kind of expecting that. We'll have to see where we can open up. I'm not sure what's going on with my add divergent line. We had that problem on Friday. It was it didn't move at all. I don't know if anybody else had that same problem, but it's driving me nuts. And the tick lines weren't moving either. It was bizarre. Okay, so there we go. So we had opened at 553 positive. We are now at 440 and dropping on the add divergent line. Same with our our ticks we are ticking down, and the market is kind of selling off a little bit here. Just popped over into the red, which not too worried about yet. I could see again, like what we've been calling for, and Darth was saying the same thing in the outlook, is that we would like to see some consolidation, like to see a little bit of a downside action for a couple days, and then it would give it room and give it breath to rip from that point. That's really what I'm looking for here. Let's check in on some of these stocks, see where we're at. So Roku considering, so not doing much of what I thought. Just kind of chopping around here now that it's opened. I was expecting more of a rip to either direction here. So I'm kind of surprised on Roku that it's not moving too much yet. Let's check in on some of the other names. Man, Roku opened all the way below lower Kelt on the 4 hour. That's crazy. What a big drop. What a thing just moves like crazy. I love it. Baba giving selling off a little bit here this morning. Qualcomm actually coming alive for once. Keep my eye on that. I still am not very positive on it. Disney giving back a little bit of the gains from pre-market. Everything's kind of doing the same thing this morning, so I'm not too surprised there. Checking with our FANG stocks. Facebook kind of just chopping around, as well as Apple and Amazon. Netflix gave a big drop candle there on the 15-minute. Google kind of chopping around, starting to sell off a little bit, and Microsoft kind of doing the same. It popped up really high for Microsoft in pre-market, but now it's really starting to sell off. Kind of everything except for Apple and Facebook kind of starting to give back some of those gains from pre-market. So add divergence line kind of catching itself there at the 119, but really starting to sell off there really quick. So a lot of profit taking, and you see there on the 5-minute on the S&P, it's all the way down to 3140, 3141. So interesting morning, going to be very choppy. The same thing we've been saying for the last month, you guys. Very, very choppy. Be very careful. If you're getting directional, give yourself some time at least. Otherwise, like I always say, duration, not direction. And so a lot of these plays that I'll be setting up for this week will probably be much longer term, giving myself a lot of room. So. Oh, good. They just opened the road, so I can leave today. Checking on our futures here. Oil starting to push back up once again. XLF was up slightly pre-market, but kind of gave back those gains already. The VIX is elevated over a 13 now. It's about 1330-ish. The NASDAQ is down about 0.23%, so down about $20. The bonds had sold off pretty strong, so they're continuing to sell off from last week's sell-off, which is actually a bullish signal. Yeah, and oil starting to push back up again this morning, so I was kind of expecting that. Gold also kind of sold off strong. Gold has been way lower than I expected with all the risk, but I think people are just so bullish right now and getting a little euphoric, which is dangerous. So gold will be something that I'll be looking into January, probably looking for stuff to go into like February, March. So that's what I'll be looking at for those. Ad divergence line starting to push back up from the low of 119, only at about a 200 now, but that's better than where we were headed. We didn't hit the zero line, so that is still bullish scenario. So this could have been that pullback and then a little bit of a run up now, but we'll see. This first 30 minutes to an hour the last couple of weeks has been really choppy, and then I could seem to find a trend or a direction, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything really that I'm jumping on right away. So wow, Microsoft really selling off hard this morning. Crazy. Pretty much, yeah, gave everything back and then some. Apple and Facebook. Facebook dropping a little bit more than Apple was, but Apple's still in the green technically. And Amazon and Google and Netflix both all kind of selling off from their pre-market gains. So Boeing's still holding that 365.10 line. It's at 365.76, so that's exactly what I was expecting. Wow, Roku is down 11.5%, down $18. Jeez. Yeah, that thing might just drop, and then you might get a bounce out of it, but I think it's just going to drop all morning here. Yeah, already down to 140, 150. That is crazy. Jeez, Roku. And where she stops, nobody knows. Yeah, they're kind of all giving back their pre-market gains, haven't they? This is just crazy opening. Wow, Roku, this is just nutty. I want to see their... And here goes Disney breaking that upper Celt on the 4-hour. Okay, there it's holding it. It really needs to hold that for support, or we could see some pretty big sell side action on Disney if it can't hold that today. Market continuing to sell off here this morning. Now we at divergence line is dropping again all the way down to the 70s now. VIX is really starting to push up hard. You can see the ticks are just pointing straight down now. So this could be that first 30 minutes, hour sell off, and then to pull the rug out and kind of turn around like it has been doing. So that's kind of what I'll be watching for here to see. I'm not saying it's going to, that's what I'm just looking for. The Dow is still in the green though, but the Nasdaq and S&P are both down. The Nasdaq down 0.2%, 0.27%, and the S&P down 0.1. Oh, and there the Dow just turned to the red. Right as I said that. That was crazy. Yeah, those ticks are just straight down, and there we crossed the zero divergence line. Now down negative 172 and continuing to drop. We are down $11. Jeez. But this is actually healthy. This is actually what I wanted to see. I wanted to see this sell off a little bit, breathe a little bit, and then we could get a nice rip back up. That's what it needs to do. Otherwise, it would be a slow, harder grind. I thought it could have squeezed out of the gate, but it's definitely gonna wants to drop a bit here, and then we can take off. And the VIX just ripping. Man, look at all those fangs just dropping in unison there. Wow. Crazy. Yeah, there was no real bounce up and then drop. It was just like pre-market gain and drop. Wow. NVIDIA holding support on the middle Celt there on the 4-hour, but I don't expect to see that hold up if it continues selling off like it is. And same with Shop. Everything down quite a bit. I mean, already down over 2%, 3%, 1%. It's just everything's dropping pretty hard here. Everything across the board. Bidu, the only thing up right now. That's crazy. And there Roku continues to go down now, $21.5, 13.5%. Jeez. Ouch. What a crazy drop on Roku. starting to see a little bit of a bounce back up here, kind of around the board. So this is gonna be that chop, guys. So be careful. Don't get too heavy. If you start into something, definitely take starter positions. Small positions to start on these things. That's what I would always recommend when it's moving like this. Don't just go all in on something. Just take a starter position, see how it moves. If it starts to work out, maybe add to it. If not, get out with that small loss. That's kind of the trick of the trade there, which I think maybe that'll be a lesson we'll go over this week when we have some time. Kind of how I open positions, how I hold on to them, what I look for, and how I cut out. And Darth has a really good strategy for that as well, and so maybe I can get him to be on there with me when I do it. That would be awesome. So we'll talk about more of that this week. Yeah, Tesla being the only thing really pushing up strong here, but got some heavy resistance coming into there, so we will see. And Beidou though, so one Tesla and Beidou, two names that you just funny. Roku kind of finally found a bottom there. I would expect either some consolidation and then a further drop, or to kind of just consolidate here. Pretty much the rest of the day is more realistic, most likely. Guys, I am going to take this call. I've got a student on the phone, and but I'm here. I'm still here, and then I'll be back on once we get get a little bit further in here. I should probably be on there for about 20 minutes at the most, guys. But yeah, I'll still be able to communicate through Discord and on chat. So yeah, if you guys need anything, just hit me up on there. All right, be back shortly. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah. How's it going, guys? Hope everybody's doing pretty good still. Crazy drop this morning, and then the PMI numbers did not help at all, so not too surprised on that. Definitely wasn't anticipating it to drop as fast and hard as that, but this is healthy, guys. This is, I know it doesn't seem like it, but this is a healthy thing. We needed the market to do this so we can go to that next leg up. It's so hard when it just continuously up. It goes slower, and that's when we get those range days where there's just nothing moving other than an off hours. So this is healthy. This is exactly what Darth said. This is exactly what I was saying last week and this morning. We needed this. We needed this to consolidate so we can get that next push up. Definitely something to keep your guys' eye on for the rest of the day. There's not too many more numbers coming up. I figure we'll probably have found a bottom somewhere in here. You might get a little bit of bounce up, but it's going to probably be choppy the rest of the day after this drop. Now, obviously, if any other catalysts come out, then we could see a push back down. The interstate is open. Our flights were canceled in Denver is what happened. The airports were shut down, and so we started driving, and then we got caught halfway home. So I'm going to leave here in just a little bit. I will be watching the market. I've got some trades, but I'll be doing it from mobile. Nothing big because I'm traveling. But any questions or anything like that, you guys go ahead and ask. Anybody will help you, or I can help you. It might just take me a few minutes to get back. When I get back tonight, I will definitely be going over some important stuff. I might even stream for like an hour tonight and go over some stuff forward-looking, some swing trade ideas for the next few weeks. And a lot of stuff I want to start posting for 2020 stuff to start getting ready for, because it's going to be really, really important. Let's kind of go through some of the stuff here before I sign off. So let's look at our futures. XLF, the financials continue to keep pulling down, which is dragging down the overall market. The VIX is at a 15 now, 1487 now, but up over 17%. The NASDAQ is already down 1.5%, so huge drop in the NASDAQ even compared to the S&P or the Dow. The S&Ps are starting to look at a 1% drop here. Oil is continuing a massive sell-off from the, it had a nice big push up, and we needed that, and then it just started selling off so hard here, especially in the last 2 hours. You can see there up in the upper right corner. So that's no good. Gold, no surprises there, pushing up, risk on. So it's going to start pushing up. The bonds also starting to push back on as people are starting to put more risk back on the table. So not too surprised there. Our FANG stocks continuing to drop off pretty hard on Apple and Google. Amazon down 1.86% as well. So, you know, they're all down pretty hard. Netflix leading at negative 3%. So that's pretty hard fall on Netflix. So they're all doing basically the same thing. The FANG stocks are all kind of in alignment there. So not too surprised. Boeing did lose that 365 line and also lost the lower Kelt support on the 4-hour. So that is very, very unhealthy for Boeing. The same with Shop. I mean, Shop has just a massive drop this morning, down 6%. Roku leading the charge, obviously, got a little bit of a tick back up, but it's still down over 16%. NVIDIA down over 2.8%. Activision down 2.3%, and Tesla, about the only one that we really watch, pushing up 1% in the green today. But it did have a bearish cross on the 14 down over the 30 on the 4 hour. So that'll be something I'll be looking towards the rest of this week for maybe some bearish plays, especially if it can't hold on to this 4 hour lower Kelt support and resistance line. It's playing it right now. It's, as you can see it there in the lower right corner, Tesla is just really playing on that lower Kelt line. It's going to be battling that all day. It needs to close above that going into the next 4 hour candle, so that'll be very, very critical to watch. BABA continuing to hold support on the upper Kelt, so that is good for BABA. BDU gave back pretty much all of its gains from this morning after it bounced off of resistance on the upper Kelt. And Disney is busted right through the upper Kelt on the 4 hour, but it is holding the 14. And you've got some support right under that. So you've got 2 lines of support there on the middle Kelt and the 14 on Disney. McDonald's bounced right off the upper Kelt and middle Kelt, so it's just kind of bouncing in between there as a range. AMD down about 37 cents, so not quite 1%. And then obviously, Roku being the crazy one for today, but I think we may have found a bottom for the day today. I don't know. I'll be looking more at this. It's really got some really significant levels where it's at, like you can see on the daily here, where it hit resistance, broke through there, and then it's bounced off of support on the lower Kelt, so it's now stuck in this range here, which is actually good for Roku that it didn't just burn right through this on the daily, or this thing could have it could have got really ugly. It could still be an ugly week for this week, but you can see here we've got quite a bit of room down back to the gap up from the earnings is right here around this like 122, 121 level. So there's still quite a bit of room that it could come down this week if it continues to go bearish. So we'll have to see after that. The big thing was the analyst downgrade today for Roku. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens there. Guys, I will check back in, especially on Discord. I will check in. Oil's just dropping hard. God, it was doing so good this morning. I was so excited for oil finally. But I will check back in via Discord. Probably every hour or so. But if you guys need anything, just hit me up. Don't hesitate. The other guys are always great about answering stuff too. But I will definitely talk to everybody tonight. Good luck. Be careful. Don't chase too much, especially the rest of the day. We're probably going to be really choppy the rest of the day. Again, remember, guys, this was very healthy for the overall market. We needed this to get some breather, some profit taking, some consolidation for the next couple of days. It'll be really healthy, and then we could get that next leg up where we could see higher high. And I'm looking at like 3,200 to 3,400 by January, and then that's where I expect to start seeing like I'm almost looking for a negative year next year, especially 2021. But I'll get into all of that stuff later as we go on this month and I start putting out more charts for you guys that I really want you guys to start studying and looking at. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. I will see you guys all here shortly. And tonight we'll do maybe do a little special when I get back and off the road and get unpacked and breathe a sigh of relief. Thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy. Stay green, guys.